Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am Mickey. I am not your mama's minister. And today we're going to be talking about an absolutely fantastic and incredibly sweet folk saint. Now, you know that I absolutely love folk saints. I love that the people have decided, not some church, not some um, group that sets down rules for how people become saints. And if you notice from my daily quotes and daily representations and honorings or honorifics for the dead on their feast days, I recognize anybody who has passed as potentially being a patron saint for at least one person. So I really love folk saints because, of course, they are somebody that the people have decided on. Whether that individual, that spirit, actually lived and we have historical record of them, or whether it is somebody that the people have created from their own belief structures and so forth. And so today's, I wanted to talk about Jose Dolores, and I apologize for the accent. I will try not to say his name again in this video, but Joseph of the Sorrows. And so this guy was a gaucho, and a gaucho traditionally means a cowboy, but they kind of go beyond that. They're kind of the guys who are kind of getting into trouble and starting shit, and when they can't find jobs as cowboys, then they'll go do some criminal activities to make some money. And very exciting, kind of that old western type. Think Van Cleef or John Wayne, or I don't know, oh, Charles Bronson, things like that, that old western type of guy. Well, that's what the gauchos were. They primarily did the ranching and they were expert horse equestrians, but they also didn't have a problem going and doing some crime in order to get by until they had their next job. And so he was a gaucho, and so he had gotten busted by the cops, and so he was kind of trying to lay low. And he goes and finds a job in another town where he hasn't been before. He goes and finds a job as a ranch hand. Fantastic, something that he knows, but then, and he's still trying to stay low. He's not, announcing his presence. And one of the things about him was that he had already been known for being a very spiritual and mystical person. So he had visions, he did healings, he performed miracles, and so people knew him. And so he needed to make sure that he was, kind of keeping it on the what is it, down low, I think that's how you say it. And so he gets this job and with this very wealthy rancher, and he becomes a ranch hand, and he's doing a fantastic job. And then, can you guess where the problem came in? As the problem often comes in, love. He fell in love. He fell in love with the rancher's daughter, and as still to this day often happens, parents have a certain expectation of their children and who their children should love and who they should be with. And so the parents were like, dude, you're a fucking ranch hand. What the fuck are you gonna do for my daughter who's wealthy, and so forth and so on. And so I don't like this shit. So and of course the daughter had also fallen in love with him. And so, because he was a very kind and loving person. So then, so the parents of the girl ended up calling the cops and arranging with the cops that they wanted to catch him. And he, of course, was on the run again and still sneaking to see her and stuff like that. And so they decide they're going to have this party, this dance, this fantastic big, party for all of the townspeople. And so they know that he knows that the daughter is going to be there. And he's desperate to see her. He's desperate to have, a last dance, a last kiss, and so forth before he has to go back on the run again. And so they know he's going to show up. So he shows up at the dance. The cops get him. Girls crying, wow, no, don't take him. I hate you guys. I can't believe you're ruining my life like this. And then the cops take him out there and they say, Okay, well, this is basically, they had this specific way of executing somebody where they would say, if you can get over the border, then before we kill you, then you can survive, you get to live. But if any of the bullets hit you before, if the firing squad hits you before you get to the border, you're gonna die. And so they did that. They were like, run, rabbit, run. And which, of course, really sadistic. And so he doesn't make it. And they hit him in the back with the bullets, and he falls against a tree. And unfortunately, the head of the police department was also in love with the daughter, and he was her uncle. And the parents had already planned on them hooking up. That would be a good match. And so he comes up and he chops off Jose's head, and rides around town with it. Oh, look at what we did, look at what we did. And from that point on, it was pretty much there. He became a folk saint. And so he is a fantastic folk saint for healing headaches or head injuries, things like that. Again, like I've said before, when it comes to healing, you definitely want to make sure that you're also seeing a doctor. Any spiritual or mystical help is supposed to be added on to scientific help. So if you have a head injury or something like that, or a headache that you can't explain or something like that, you definitely want to go see the doctor and have them check it out. Because none of the saints who are healers or miracle workers want you to croak like so many people do, thinking that, well, God will heal me, even though according to your beliefs, God gave medical professionals the drive to be healers. So yeah, anyway, so Jose ends up becoming the patron saint of a number of things. He is a miracle worker. He is, because of his name, Joseph of the Sorrows, he is a healer of depression and anxiety. And from what I have heard from many people that I've known, that he's been one of their primary folk saints, he's really, really good with kind of calming and easing the anxiety and the depression. He is also, I already mentioned, headaches and head injuries, ailments having to do with the head. And then he is also petitioned, of course, for people who have social anxiety and severe shyness, or people who are shut-ins, people who are agoraphobic. He's very good for, and some people might ask, well, why? And it is because he had to keep private. He had to kind of keep a very invisible presence. And I know that sometimes with social anxiety, and sometimes with severe shyness, and sometimes with agoraphobia, or people who are more shut-ins, and I know that there's a new term for it, but I can't remember what it is now. But I know that is part of the problem or the sorrow of their lives, is that people don't get it, so they think, oh, well, she or he is just being antisocial, so we're not going to invite them to go anywhere. And I saw on Facebook and the internet these memes going around about, just because I'm an introvert, or just because I'm shy, or just because I have social anxiety, doesn't mean I don't want you to still invite me to do things, or be accessible, so that we can still hang, even if it means you coming to hang with me while we sit in the same room and do nothing, not even talk, but just sit in the same room for each other's company. And so he is petitioned for healing or for help with that. Even if it's not going to be a healing aspect, it is going to bring that positive energy of drawing people to you that get it, drawing people to you that are okay with the fact that you just want to you know, you still want to be in communication with others. You just don't necessarily want to go out and be social butterfly, you know, and talk to everybody all the time. So that is another patronage that he has. He is also a patron folk saint of equestrians and people who work with horses, of course cowboys and those people who work on ranches, farms, and so forth. And of course, because this was a man who knew that those police were going to be there. He knew that it was a setup, and yet it was worth it for that love. It was worth it for that last kiss. It was worth it for that last dance. And so that throwing caution to the wind and just jumping with both feet, jumping in with both feet for that possibility of love, that possibility of that relationship. And you know me, I am not a romantic person. I absolutely believe in looking at the positives and the negatives of the possible relationships that you get into. It makes me incredibly sad when people get into relationships with their eyes closed, but love is blind, and I know that. And so regardless of what kind of issue I may have with it, love is always supposed to be gone after with gusto and passion and those feelings of who knows what's going to happen, but at least I'm going to try. And so he is fantastic, a wonderful, wonderful, kind and gentle spirit to work with if you are feeling like you're not sure if it's the right relationship for you, but gosh, you just want to jump. You just want to dive in and just dive into that other person and see what's going to happen. And so anyway, all of those things he's a patron of. He's very easy to work with. He likes booze and beer, and he likes cigarettes and cigars. He likes coins. He likes any images of horses. He likes anything representing the relationship that you're going after. So yeah, he actually doesn't have a feast day. It is rumored that he died on Valentine's Day, which, if we know anything about, you know, kind of community-wide parties, that is entirely possible that he passed away, that he was murdered on a festival like that. But because there are a number of countries in Latin America that don't celebrate Valentine's Day on February 14th, it is possible that it wasn't February 14th. But I really wanted to do a video on him. I just really felt the draw to point out that he is yet another folk saint that is so diverse and kind of loves everybody and is kind of fun and kind of approachable and has a lot of different patronages. And so I think that might be it. Oh, he is also a patron folk saint of people who kind of live two lives, so have their jobs but also do criminal activity. So I think that might be it. Yeah, it is. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. And yeah, many blessings, much love, and have a blast today. Talk to you soon.